Good evening everybody, and welcome to the night that will determine our second half of our dual main events at Summer Smackdown. It is time for the King of the Ring tournament. We are still here in Winnipeg, Manitoba, where 8 superstars enter the ring with hopes of claiming the right to fight for their single belts of their choosing, excluding the Nexus Championship belt, of course. And to do that, they'll have to survive 3 opponents in the single elimination tournament. Will it be our number 1 seeded Lanz, who won the honors of the 1 seed at the Elimination Chamber last month, but has not had much success in the men's Universal Division up until this point? Or will it be our 8 seeded Nier, who was picked by Lanz to be his opponent and is ready to use this opportunity to springboard himself into a potential chance at becoming a double champion? Will it be our number 2 seeded Jaren, who still believes that he should have been the rightful winner of the chamber and would love to get his hands back on Lanz to prove why? Or maybe it will be our 7th seeded Taion, who is still looking for his first win of the year and can do it tonight in spectacular fashion. Or perhaps it will be our 3rd seeded Gundham Tanaka, who will take this tournament as an opportunity to get his hands on Shinjiro before Akihiko can. Will it be our 6th seeded Nagito Komaeda, who is hoping to use his opponents as stepping stones back to glory? Will it be our 4th seeded Kanji Tatsumi, who has been hot and cold this year, but never quite out of the conversation? Or will we have one hell of an upset of upsets as our 5th seeded Teddie shocks the world and proves that he is still capable of making a championship run? Get ready for a night where anything can and will happen, because it is time to crown our King of the Ring. And starting off our night, it is our number 1 seed, the winner of the chamber last month,
weighing in at 173 pounds, Lanz.
representing Ouroboros, it is Lanz. And his hand-picked opponent, he is your men's Nexus champion,
Weighing in at 185 pounds, Nier.
it is Nier. And this is gonna be a round 1 where, honestly, I'm expecting an upset. I am fully expecting Nier to take Lanz the distance and move on to round 2 as the 8th seed. And here we go, refereeing's bell. Lanz not wasting any time, rushing towards Nier. Clothesline. And rolling Nier onto his back. Back up to his feet, but Nier punching his way out. Step up drop kick. Dragging Lanz around, going for the cover. Not even one. Lanz kicking out, still early in the match. Springboard DDT. Grabbing onto the wrist, stomping down on the back of the head. And Nier with a stomp leg breaker. Getting Lanz back up to his feet. Tossing him over the top rope. Referee begins the count. Nier heading up top. But, jumping back down. What in the hell was that? No idea. Complete miscalculation. Yeah, the calculation was there, but man, is he bad at math. And now Lanz heading up top. Sending Nier back down, head first into the barricade. And Nier uppercut. That looked a bit low. That was probably to like the intestines. And sending Lanz into the steps. There's 5. Nier stepping back into the ring. Lanz back into the ring. Back on offense, sending Nier for an Irish whip, turning that into a belly-to-back suplex. And rolling Nier around. Sharpshooter. Alright. Lanz trying out a submission. Nier immediately getting out. But a sharpshooter. Interesting. Nier trying to reset. Trying to walk Lanz, but Lanz elbowing out. Irish whip. Diving underneath. Diving underneath again. And an elbow. Nier to the outside. Heading back in. Maybe he's trying to confuse Lanz. I don't know, but there's a diving axe handle drop that connects regardless. And the cover. Only one. And another cover after that slam. There's 2. And an RKO. No! Nier seeing that coming over the shoulder, slamming Lanz down. Golden opportunity in his hands. Springboard moonsault. Cover. There's only one. And now, over the shoulders. Reverse cutter into the cover. There's 2. Lanz kicks out. Nier turning Lanz around. Working on the neck. Up. No, not an uppercut. Misread the animation. Nier springboard. Nobody's home. And now Lanz looking to use this opportunity. Ankle lock. Elbow to the thigh. And stomping down on the hand. Nier back up to his feet. Lanz turning him around. Neck breaker. And Lanz heading up top. Diving elbow. And the cover. There's 1, 2. Nier kicks out. Nier back up to his feet. Pedigree? No. Sit out powerbomb into the cover. There's 2. Nearly, but not quite. But Nier now. The crossroads. The cutter. 1, 2, and Nier is moving on. What did I say? I was expecting this to be a to be on paper what would have been considered a an upset. Just knowing these two fighters, and well, it was close. It was certainly close. Can't say that. I mean, you can't say it wasn't, but Nier moving on to the semifinals.
Here is your winner, Nier.
And Nier one step closer to potentially becoming double champion. And next up,
The following is scheduled for one fall, making his way to the ring from Cleveland, Ohio, weighing in at 149 pounds, Jaren!
introducing first, unfortunately not getting his hand, or not, like, if he moves on, he won't be able to get his hands on Lanz, but whatever. It is the ringleader himself, Jaren. And his opponent still looking for his first win of the year.
Weighing in at 135 pounds, Jaren the Technician!
Representing Ouroboros, it is Taion. Now, if Uni can have one hell of a tournament, why can't Taion? Right? And here we go. Both men ready. Referee rings the bell. And they meet in the middle, immediately sizing each other up with a collar and elbow. Jaren pushing Taion down. Taion back up to his feet, turning that into a belly-to-back suplex. And Jaren back up to his feet. Taion open palm slap, working Jaren uppercut or a shot to the stomach. Taion working on the wrist. It's not like Taion has been in matches before. Like, he certainly has. Just never really managing to come through. And Jaren with a reversal. Looking for the neck breaker, but Jaren getting out of the way. And now locking up collar and elbow. Walking Jaren back to the southwest corner. Hurricane Run from Taion. Middle rope. Diving crossbody, but Jaren steps out of the way. Taion rolling out of the way. Jaren back up to his feet. Definitely a technician battle here. Definitely very technical in the ring. Right now. And now, hammerlock, wrist lock from Jaren that Taion immediately escapes. Spinning knife edge chop across the throat. Not even one. Jaren from behind. Locking up again over the shoulder. And bouncing Taion off the top rope. Picking him up into a seated position. Look for the neck snap of Jaren, but Taion rolling underneath. Clothesline, and now Taion to the outside. Senton! Unlike the twins, actually connecting this time. Locking in a submission along the outside. And Jaren sending Taion headfirst into a water bottle. Unprettier. I think that's what that's called. Maybe not. Am I misremembering? I might be. There's 5. And back to the ring we go. There's 6. But Jaren now on the offense. Roundhouse kick, busting Taion open. There's 2. Almost, but not quite. Taion a reversal, strong right hand knife edge chop, uppercut. Chicken wing suplex, there's one, there's two, and Taion finally getting a victory under the brightest lights. Lanz falling at the first hurdle, Jaren falling at the first hurdle. It's going to be Taion versus Nier in the second round. And what a match. What a first victory.
Here is your winner, Jaren the Technician.
And all the weight off your shoulders. Taion, you are finally a match winner. Now do it again in like a few minutes. And now for a matchup that will probably burn this building down. Introducing first, it is the Dark Lord of Destruction, Gundham Tanaka.
At 163 pounds, the demon, Gundham Tanaka.
Remember when these two were in Eclipse? I remember. I remember very well. Yeah. Legitimately have no idea who's gonna come out on top in this one. And his opponent. It is the one, the only, ultimate lucky student, and the self-proclaimed ultimate hope, Nagito Komaeda. And here we go. Ref rings the bell. And Nagito immediately running towards Gundam. Hit him with a running clothesline. But Gundam sweeping the leg. Getting Nagito onto his back. Turning him around with that stomp to the wrist. Stomp to the upper arm. And Gundam top rope double leg dropkick. Nagito fighting himself out. Clothesline. And now Nagito to the outside. Springboard senton. And locking up. Nagito with a headlock. And Gundam escaping. Head triangle. Well, arm triangle, something like that. But Nagito turning that into a hammerlock. Now taking down Gundam, working on the neck. Shot to the spine. And now escaping to the top rope. Crossbody, but nobody's home. Gundam immediately going for the cover. There's one. Nagito kicks out. Gundam to the outside. Drop kick. And now Fujiwara armbar out of nowhere. Nagito immediately getting out of that. I respect it. I absolutely respect it, but certainly interesting. Nagito forcing Gundam up. Slamming him back first into the turnbuckle. 1, 2, Gundam kicks out. And Nagito looking for the stomp. Almost at the spear. The stomp connecting. 1, 2, and Gundam kicking out. Shooting star press out of nowhere. Flying knee, but Gundam gets out of the way. Shotgun drop kick into the turnbuckle, giving Nagito a taste of his own medicine. But Nagito trying to get back into this match as a sling blade, turning Gundam around, looking for a second stomp. And that might have punched his ticket to the second round. 1, 2, and Nagito Komaeda will face off against either Kanji Tatsumi or Teddie. And Nagito. Yeah, that's the end of the sentence. Nagito. And now rounding off our first, round of matches.
The following contest is scheduled for one fall. Making his way to the ring, representing the Blue Bloods from Japan, weighing in at 210 pounds, Kanji Tatsumi.
Introducing first, representing the investigation squad, Kanji Tatsumi. And his opponent, it is the bear of the TV world, also representing the investigation squad.
From the internet, weighing in at 126 pounds, the Bear, Teddie.
It is Teddie. And if you hear the resignation in my voice, yeah, there is some. I'm not gonna lie. Here we go. Kanji, Teddie. Both ready? And referee rings the bell. Kanji immediately running towards Teddie with a clothesline. And Teddie with an elbow a little bit low. Completely whiffing on that right hand. And now locking up collar and elbow. Locking up again. Kanji headlock, but Teddie sending him for a run. Stomping down to the hand on the wrist. And a snap elbow. Locking up again, wrist lock. But Teddie turning that around. Side triangle working on the wrist, on the shoulder. If anyone actually knows what that's called, please let me know. I legitimately have no clue. Anyway, Teddie sending Kanji for a pin, only one. Running knee to the side of the head. Kanji kicking him off. Kick to the spine. Teddie turning that around. Head scissor toss. Into the cover. Not even one. Diving axe handle drop. Teddie, the running clotheslines, catching the kick, sweeping the leg. And here's the cover. 1, 2, not quite. Irish whip. Diving underneath, jumping over the top, and a spear. And now the bear hug backbreaker. Into the cover to put this one away. Kanji digging deep to kick out. European uppercut. Now both men to the outside. Kanji forcing Teddie up over the shoulders, slamming him down. Underneath, belly to back suplex. And is Teddie seriously going to move on to the second round? It is seriously looking like it right now. Kanji, he can only get offense in spurts, but nothing sustained. And Teddie with a flying crossbody. Teddie with a strong right hand. Are we looking for another bear hug? Yes, but Kanji turning that around. Fireman's carry. Go to sleep. The GTS. But Teddie, Kanji ain't Morgana. He can't tell us to go to bed. Irish whip. Double underhook arm drag. And again, just slamming the hand down into the canvas, forcing Kanji up to his feet. And a second spear. Teddie heading up top. Crossbody, but Kanji getting out of the way. And all the while, Nagito just relaxing backstage, recovering, watching these two beat each other up. The longer this match goes, the more that Nagito's advantage grows. There's one. Only one! Kanji elbow drop from the heavens. Are we looking to go to sleep again? The GTS again. There's 1, 2, and Kanji will move on. I just have to catch my breath because, yeah, that was one of the matches of all time.
Here is your winner, Kanji Tatsumi.
But the second round has officially been set. Nier versus Taion. Nagito versus Kanji. Okay. And starting off our semifinals. Introducing first.
The following is scheduled for one fall. Making his
In
way to the
this
ring from
8 versus 7 seed matchup.
185 pounds, Nier.
Yeah, let that sink in. The 8 seed versus the 7 seed. Anyway, it is Nier. And his opponent,
The Union from Pangea, weighing in at 135 pounds, Jaren the Technician.
getting his first win of the year last round. Can he do it again? He can, in theory, but will he? I don't know. Uni made it to the finals, so maybe Taion will as well. Here we go, Nier versus Taion. And ref rings the bell. They meet in the middle with Taion immediately looking for the spinning elbow, but Nier rolling out of the way. Rolling Taion up in a bridging suplex. Only going to be one. Locking up, collar and elbow. And Nier with a headlock. Tossing Taion aside, but Taion back up to his feet. Locking up Nier yet again. Walking him back to the southern ropes. right hand, and that may have been an oversell, but whatever. Rear waist lock, but now a headlock. Taion back up to his feet, but Nier still holding on. Taion escaping by sending him for an Irish whip. And a single A drop kick to the chest. Trapping the arm, stomping down on the hand. And an automatic rope break of that submission attempt. Taion with an uppercut. Knife edge. Working the arm. And bouncing Nier off the turnbuckle. Here's the cover. Only one. Taion along the outside as they look for a slingshot. Slingshot Hurricane Rana. Both men back into the ring. And Taion middle rope. Axe handle drop it. Nier gets out of the way. Surprise pin attempt yet again, but not even one this time. Nier a moonsault. Another cover. There's two. Taion kicks out quickly. Irish whip. Belly to belly something or another. There's one. Only one. Over the shoulders. Swinging neck breaker, reverse cutter. Or inverse cutter. Inverted? Inverted cutter? Something like that. Diving axe handle, and now are we looking for the crossroads to put this one away? There's one, two. Taion kicking out. Nier with a moonsault. Maybe this will do it, but well, he's not going for the cover, so we'll never know. Over the shoulders, Taion elbowing out. He's tasted victory once. He's hungry for seconds. But unfortunately, this food is fighting him. Shot to the spine. Locking in a sleeper hold. Near the ropes, but not near enough for Nier. But Taion breaking the hold because this game is a piece of ass. Not in that way. I was going to say this game is a piece of crap and is ass, but no, it's not a piece of ass. No. Suplex. Cover. 1, 2, and Taion nearly punching his ticket to the finals, but Nier kicking out just before 3. And okay, Taion just decided to go for a run. Way too early on that neck breaker. Moonsault from Nier, but not connecting. And now Nier trying to get this one back with a comeback. The clotheslines, there's 1, 2, nearly closing it out, but not quite. Over the shoulders. Inverted cutter again. Crossroads once more. No, pedigree, no, spin out powerbomb. 1, 2, and Nier is moving on to the finals. But Taion nearly doing the impossible twice. Really making Nier work for that. And that might honestly be a godsend for a Kanji, allowing him to rest for like 5 more minutes than he probably expected.
Here is your winner, Nier!
And Nier, just 1 match away now from punching his ticket to Summer Smackdown. Now, is it going to be Nagito, or is it going to be Kanji? That's coming up next. And for our second semi-final of the evening, introducing first, it is the ultimate hope, the ultimate lucky student, Nagito Komaeda.
The following contest is scheduled for one fall, making his way to the ring from Nagito, Japan, weighing in at 143 pounds, with Kobayashi!
And his opponent,
And his opponent, representing the Blue Bloods from Japan, weighing in at 210 pounds, Kanji Tatsumi.
it is Kanji Tatsumi. And here we go, both men ready. Referee rings the bell. And immediately locking up collar and elbow. Who will be the one taking on Nier in the finals? 8th seeded Nier, may I remind you. Nagito. Rear waist lock, but Kanji with an arm, with a hip toss. But a head triangle from Komaeda. Diving shoulder spear from Kanji. Stomp to the ankle. Scrambling for the cover. There's 2. Nagito kicks out. Kick to the spine. Elbow to the chest. Locking up collar and elbow. Wrist clutch from Nagito. But Kanji with a wrist clutch right back. But Nagito fighting back. Trying to take Kanji down. Very painful position for your arm to be. Nagito eventually throwing him down. Springboard senton, but just over the back. Kanji elbow drop. And Irish whip. Diving underneath. Belly to belly slam. And a crossbody from the middle rope. Knee to the numbers. So apparently those numbers on the back of Nagito's hoodie, apparently that's his school symbol? I thought it was just a 55. I thought he just really liked the number 55 or something, but no, apparently those are either 2 S's, which I would be very concerned about given, world history, or it's actually 2 5s, or it's a 5 and an S, or it's just symbols that are supposed to look like that. I have no idea, but apparently that's his school symbol. Who knew? Honestly, I probably would have guessed that his school symbol was like the checkerboard on his left breast, but well, the wiki could be wrong as well. Anyway, Kanji to the outside, Nagito joining him. And an enzigiri. Nagito up top, Kanji in the ring, and just staring down at Nagito as he hits him with a diving axe handle drop. No idea why you wouldn't try to get Nagito off the turnbuckle, but we already know that this game isn't very bright. Sit out neck breaker. And Nagito scrambling up top. Crossbody frog, or a 5-star frog splash. Into the cover, there's 2. Kanji kicks out. And Nagito looking to put this one away with a stomp. But Kanji turning that into a belly-to-belly slam. Over the shoulders. Go to sleep. There's 1. 2. Nagito kicks out. Over the shoulders again. I'm really telling you, go to sleep. 1, 2, and it's gonna be Kanji Tatsumi versus Nier in the finals. Also, if you're watching this and it's like 1 o'clock in the morning, you should probably go to sleep. Unless you're at work. Or driving, or like doing something like that you actually need to be awake for. But like, if you're laying in bed or whatever, like, I appreciate being here, but no, go to sleep. Pick this back up in the morning. We're all gonna be here still, because it's, you know, this is, well, not live, so you're not gonna be missing much. The Kanji versus Nier. Not a showdown that I would have expected, to be honest.
Here is your winner, Kanji Tanaka.
Now, who's going to be the main target? Is it going to be Shinjiro Aragaki, or is it going to be 9S? Or could it potentially be... Well, okay, let's be honest, it's not going to be Jin. Probably not going to be Dunban. It might be Dunban. Wait, who's the current men's champion? Is it Dunban or did it move? Anyway, could be in the Universal Division, but is most likely going to be either Shinjiro or 9S. And for our main event of the evening, the finals, to determine who will be our King of the Ring and who will headline Summer Smackdown.
Weighing in at 185 pounds, Nier.
Introducing first, it is your 8th seeded Nier, being handpicked by Lanz, making it through him, and then defeating Taion. Just realized that Nier beat both members of Ouroboros. At least both members of Ouroboros who are in the tournament. And now is facing off against Kanji Tatsumi. And, yeah, this is probably one of the better outcomes that we could have hoped for. And his opponent,
The Blue Bloods from Japan, weighing in at 210 pounds, Kanji Tanaka.
as I was saying, it is Kanji Tatsumi, And prepare yourselves for an absolute brawl. These two, both very hard-hitting, not exactly good at thinking through plans, just going purely based off of instinct, and this should be a good finals. Should be better than Nyx versus Sanan. And here we go. This is probably going to be more like Colorado versus Vegas. Not Colorado, Carolina versus Vegas. Nier beginning with a couple of moonsaults. And a third moonsault. Just really working the body. This late in the tournament, your stamina is already more or less compromised. Working on the body might not be a horrible strategy. Also, Kane's in 6, but, well, if that didn't happen, then, well, right now I'm recording this on the 14th, so, I don't know, right now it's 3-2, Carolina, so, I'm expecting Vegas to tie it up, at least, but you never know. If Tortsy doesn't, like, completely mess up the roster, they might drag it to 7, but anyway, Kanji walking Nier back to the corner. Referee having to break them up and locking up yet again. Kanji sending Nier for an Irish whip. And now work on the neck. Gut wrenching over the shoulder, but Nier slipping out. Kanji a reversal right back. And I'm pretty sure Shinjiro and 9S are both watching this match, hoping that their guy doesn't win. Well, maybe 9S would like to face off against Nier again, but... Running knee strike. But Nier with the reversal, clothesline. And again. And again. Up. Over the shoulders. Sit out neck breaker. What is Nier looking for here? Referee in the way, so I don't really know. Of course it's a crossroads. There's 1, 2. Kanji kicks out. Not going down that easily. Nier to the outside, back in. Clothesline. And a stomp to the forehead. To your mandible? DDT. Right? I think that's your mandible. Probably mistaken. Nier middle rope. Waiting for Kanji to get back up, but Kanji with an elbow right to the gut. was correct. The mandible. There's 2 Nier kicks out. I mean, I thought your mandible was a little bit, like, higher, like your cheekbone, but, well, kind of same area. Welcome to the ADHD brain, where it's like we're sitting at hour 7 of recording in 3 days, so I am exhausted. Nier stuffing that knee to the gut. Another neck breaker. And to put this one away, to punch his ticket to Summer Smackdown, but Kanji tucking underneath. Clothesline, keeping this match alive. Forcing Nier over the shoulders. The GTS. The first one hasn't worked that much this tournament, but the second one, but Kanji, it doesn't matter. Kanji Tatsumi punching his ticket to Summer Smackdown. Most likely facing off against Shinjiro Aragaki. And I'm sorry, but it looks like Akihiko Sanada will have to wait another month. Unless we turn into a triple threat, which would, maybe not. But as we watch the replays of this very, very good back and forth matchup, I would like to thank you all for joining us here tonight and hope to see you next week, potentially for, on Monday for Jaren, Wednesday for Wingcrest, and Friday for Eclipse. I say potentially because, like I said, I think it was Friday, have a lot of things going on in my personal life right now. Not going to go into much detail, but my family lost somebody quite close to us. So, yeah. I don't want to bring it down too much, I'm sorry, but if nothing's out next week, that's probably why. And also, that's why I, compressed all of, all the recording in 3 days. So at least I have something, but... Well, I don't want to be too much of a downer. We'll see you when we see you. On Monday for Jaren, Monday for Jaren, Wednesday night for Wingcrest, and Friday for Eclipse. But until then, we are signing out from Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada. See ya.